This post is titled, 5 Books That Have Changed Me Forever. Someone once said that you will be the same person you are today 20 years from now, except for the people you meet and the books you read. Now, that may be a bit of an overstatement, but there's a lot of truth to that. As a lifelong reader, I can attest to the power of books, opening doors for me that I didn't even know were there. So in that spirit, I want to offer 5 books to you that have forever changed me. Now, they come in no particular order, except this is how the list came to me. Book number 1, The Confessions of St. Augustine. Now, don't let the 1,600-year-old difference frighten you, nor the fact that Augustine is an intellectual giant. The Confessions are so readable today with a little effort, and it is really worth it. I cannot even begin to list the countless ways this book has formed me over the years. It's the story of Augustine's journey as a prodigal son coming home to find the God and Father of his heart. The whole work is written as a prayer and is filled with moments of such power and radiance that his words still burn off the page today. If you're thinking about a particular translation, I suggest the John K. Ryan one. Book number 2, The Anatomy of the Soul, Curt Thompson. Now, moving from the ancient to the modern, this book was a watershed experience for me. It details modern advances in neuroscience and their fascinating interplay with Christianity. As such, it gives credence to the reality of the human soul and the power of Christ to change us. It also gave me new language for the longings of my heart and fresh understanding for some of the lost places in my heart. Book number 3, Undaunted Courage, Stephen Ambrose. Unfortunately, I lent the book out to my daughter who wanted to read it. This is moving from biography. This is one of the best. It is a story of the Lewis and Clark expedition across America in the early 1800s, taken from their own journals. The original hope now was to find a waterway across the American continent. Now, although they failed in that venture, what they succeeded in doing is so improbable that it constantly evoked awe in me as I read it. I still think about their epic journey today, even though it's been years since I've read it. Book number 4, The Boys in the Boat, Daniel James Brown. And how about another biography? This one details the story of the 1936 USA Olympic rowing team and their quest for the gold medal. They had every obstacle imaginable in them as they tried to do it in Hitler's Nazi-controlled Germany. This story focuses on one particular rower, Joe Rance, and the powerful bond he forged with the young men on his team. This book deeply marked me with the power of a band of brothers. Book number 5, Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Now, moving from biography to fiction, this is certainly one of the great novels I've ever read. If you've seen the musical version of this, trust me, that's a very sanitized version of the novel. This is the story of the orphan Oliver Twist and the terrible sufferings he has endured as a boy, finally rising above them to find a new life. There are passages so heart-wrenching that I will never forget them. And yet, at the end of the book, at its resolution, I wept for joy. It shocked English readers when it first came out, and it was a part of changing the child labor laws for that country. If you are looking to read more in 2019, if that's one of your New Year's resolutions, try one of these. Enjoy the experience of entering a world you did not know about and see how it may change you. Now, one last point here. God will sometimes get our attention through a book and even speak to us through it. And it's always a surprise when that happens. I know that has been my story over the years. Happy reading in 2019.